Shiny Pokemon, the rare occurrence of a Pokemon being a different color than normal. Mythical Pokemon, the Pokemon so rare that their mere existence is believed to be that of myth. So naturally, if you add the two together, you should get some of the rarest Pokemon around. This has always been kinda true, however, the way it is now is not the way it used to be. The first actual Shiny Mythical can date all the way back to the original Japanese Crystal version, where there was an event that allowed players to catch Celebi in-game, and it could be shiny. It was a rare limited time event, and it was a Pokemon that had a 1 in 8,192 chance of being shiny. That's rare. And it's how Shiny Mythicals would work for a while. In Generation 3, there were events that allowed for you to catch Deoxys and Mew, even if that one was exclusive to Emerald in Japan. And even the gift Jirachi from the Colosseum bonus disc could be shiny. These are just some more rare events, as you'd have to physically go to somewhere during a limited time, and run through those classic shiny odds. Jirachi is even like the rarest of the rare, as the hunt using the bonus disc or even the PAL copy of Channel is a very slow and tedious process. These are rare Pokemon, but not impossible. In Generation 4, the ability to connect to Wi-Fi allowed for the mythical events to be a lot more accessible, even giving players access to huntable Shaman and Darkrai. Pokemon Ranger could send a Manaphy egg to the main games, and what was intended to be shiny locked, to the point it doesn't even show as shiny in the hatching animation. There is a simple workaround allowing for you to get it. However, this is up there with the Gen 3 Jirachi in terms of tedium. And obviously, Manaphy can be bred to get Fione, and with the Masuda method being introduced in this generation, it's the easiest of the bunch. Every mythical so far in the series has been able to be shiny, as long as you put the work in. Rare events with a rare chance makes a super rare Pokemon. However, that's about to change. You may notice the lack of Arceus being mentioned, and while in the code for the Gen 4 games there's an event to catch one, and it is shiny huntable, they never released it. Due to being deemed to be too confusing, they opted to instead just hand out Arceus, leaving his shiny to be left at the wayside, and bring us into the next era of Shiny Mythicals rarity, where they are just forcefully rare. Starting in Gen 5, every mythical is shiny locked, and most are just given out as freebies at this point. Aside from Victini, who still got an event that let you catch it, the rest are just given to you straight from the delivery man. No more hunting, no more thrill. Just handed a mythical Pokemon that's already determined whether or not they're shiny. The first time this came into effect, I believe, was the 2013 distribution of a shiny Genesect, only in Japan. The next year, a shiny Jirachi was given out in Japan and later in Hong Kong. 2015 was a big year as it gave us an Arceus event, where you got an Arceus for pre-ordering a ticket for the upcoming Pokemon movie in Japan. This event was special, however, for there was like 20 different Arceus you could get from the code, all at random, and one of the ones you could get was shiny. That's right, Shiny Arceus is finally here, and it's locked behind an RNG event that requires you buying a movie ticket every time you want to take a shot at it. This year also gave us the Shiny Diancie event, which was only distributed in Japan and then later in South Korea. For our next one, we have to jump all the way to 2020, where Shiny Celebi events start to advertise the upcoming Secrets of the Jungle movie. This one actually released in places other than Asia, and that was really nice as a Western Pokemon fan. Well, I should say I did actually skip over one. It was also in 2020, there was a Shiny Zeraora given out through Pokemon Home. This wasn't just a handout event, as it had to be unlocked from players participating in special event Zeraora raids in Sword and Shield. If a certain amount of victories were achieved, the shiny would be given out, and so it was. This one is a little different than the other handout Shiny Mythicals, as you had to work for it, kinda. I remember doing the raids. I see it as something slightly above just being handed one from a delivery man, and so I keep it with the Mythicals I actually worked for, and not the army of Shiny Celebi events I've accumulated. That should be it for the standardish distributions of Shiny Mythicals. It's been mostly quiet the past few years, and part of it might come from the real evil of the Shiny Mythicals, Pokemon Go. Everyone's favorite bad game made by money-hungry developers, Pokemon Go has become the kind of default way to get Shiny Mythicals now. And that's because they can be insanely monetized. Starting off, let's just get Meltan and Melmetal out of the way. These two Pokemon are from Go, it's their game of origin. To catch Meltan, you need to open the mysterious box and it spawns Meltan for like an hour. During very specific time-limited events, the Meltan that spawn can also be shiny. Also important to note that Meltan can only evolve into Melmetal when it is in Go. So if you transfer it out, it will be stuck as Meltan. The real offenses, however, start with the raids. There are 3 mythical Pokemon that are available in raids as of now, and all of them have been available as shiny at times: Deoxys, Darkrai, and Genesect. So now, instead of having a proper hunt for a shiny mythical, it's now just done by raiding. And while yes, it can all be done without spending a single dollar, for a lot of people that won't be the case. The odds may only be 1 in 20, but when you add in the fact that raid passes cost about $1 each, and remote raid passes for those unable to do raids in person cost about $2, the cost of the shiny starts to rapidly increase. It took me 30 raids to get my shiny Genesect, not only for my personal collection, but also because a shiny Genesect is needed for a home challenge. I think it ended up costing me about $10 to $20 in total to get it, and that's not counting the raid passes I already had that I used for it. Thankfully, Deoxys was nice to me and I got it in about 8, so for the 2 of them combined, I'm under odds on average, but it's still such an annoyance. I didn't go for shiny Darkrai in Go, and that's for reasons we'll touch on later. The other big offense with Go is the paid research tasks for shiny mythicals. There have been 4 so far: Mew, Celebi, Jirachi, and Shaman, and we're probably going to get a Gen 5 mythical this February. In 2021, they started the global Go tours, each based on a region, and they started with Kanto. And so if you paid the whopping $25 price tag to get all the bonuses, you got access to the first Masterwork research to get the elusive shiny Mew. Instead of the RNG deciding how much you pay like with the raids, it's now a flat price, and to compensate, the tasks are just ridiculous. Some people defend them, citing that with a reward so monumental like a shiny Mew, you should have to work for it. However, if this was a paid ticket, sure, they shouldn't be absolutely brain dead easy. But requiring stuff like the player to be level 40 to access content they paid for is wild. Sure, it's far easier to get EXP nowadays compared to when the game first launched. But for people who actually play anything besides Pokemon Go, it can be a massive task. I personally had to grind 12 million EXP to get my shiny Mew. It took me close to 2 years to finally get the content I paid for. The bright side at least is that level 40 seems to be a trend for these shiny mythical research tasks, so I'm set for all the future ones. This isn't all for shiny Mew, however, for the research actually returned a few years later at a reduced price, but with the catch that you cannot buy it if you bought the original one. There has to be someone along the chain of command preventing that, as why would you block off people interested in getting another shiny Mew, especially if you're going to make money from it. For Celebi, it actually released as free research in the promotion for the Secrets of the Jungle movie, so it wasn't actually tied to the Johto tour. It also predated the Masterwork research concept, I believe, so it was really easy. This past summer, they actually brought shiny Celebi back as a paid Masterwork research, and I just didn't know about it. I was really confused on how I missed something like that, even if it wasn't something I would have paid for. But it's due to it being like the Mew rerun, where if you got the free shiny Celebi, you couldn't pay for a second one. Celebi also wasn't as groundbreaking as the others here, and like Darkrai, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Up next is Jirachi, and it's back to being like with shiny Mew. However, I believe it was with Jirachi where they dropped the price down to about $5, and this year we got the Masterwork research for shiny Shaman. And it's where things start to crumble. The required steps get exponentially bigger with each and every one. Mew required you to do tasks 151 times, since that's Mew's Pokedex number. But once you get to Jirachi, you start off needing to catch 385 Kanto Pokemon, 385 Johto Pokemon, and 385 Hoenn Pokemon. Shaman requires you to catch 492 Kanto Pokemon, 492 Johto Pokemon, 492 Hoenn Pokemon, and 492 Sinnoh Pokemon. It's to the point where trying to just get the shiny mythical is enough to lead to burnout. I dread seeing what the task could be for the Unova mythical, especially if it's one we haven't gotten before. Alright, that should just about cover the hell that is the shiny mythicals in Go. There has been brief glimpses of hope during the Go hell that has taken over the shiny mythicals, and that comes from the modern games that allow you to hunt them. While its release does predate the shiny mythicals in Go and is no longer purchasable through legal means, the Virtual Console re-release of Crystal gave access to the Celebi event worldwide and it was still huntable. So if you dust off your old 3DS and find you had bought Crystal, or are able to find it through questionable means, you can hunt away to your heart's content. No strings attached. The Switch era of games saw a massive boom of mythicals being permanently obtainable. Sword and Shield lets you catch Keldeo, Scarlet and Violet lets you catch Meloetta, Legends Arceus lets you catch Manaphy, Darkrai, Shaman, and Arceus itself, and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl have a gift Mew and Jirachi. 8 whole mythicals that are now permanently obtainable, but they are all shiny locked. So you may be wondering where the glimpses of hope are. Well, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl also got the original Darkrai and Shaman events. And while they are unfortunately still time-limited events that are long gone, the faithful remakes deliver us in faithful mythical encounters, meaning no shiny locks. You can shiny hunt these too like you could back in the day. No raid grinding or special research bullshit required. Just you and the odds for no extra cost. While these truly are glimpses, being events long gone at this point, these games also have a permanently available mythical encounter, Arceus. The event once determined to be too confusing is now back. What changed, you may ask? Well, they simply just made a game that explained how to do it. That's right, to get access to this event, you need to fully beat Legends Arceus. Not just hit the credits, but catch every Pokemon and obtain the big guy himself. Only then do you get the right to catch Arceus in BDSP. Now, why would you want to catch Arceus in BDSP after just getting one in Legends Arceus? Well, this one can be shiny. That's right, Shiny Arceus is no longer locked to a random chance mystery gift behind a paywall. It is now permanently obtainable from here on out. Through all of this, all these years, the amount of mythicals you can get shiny hasn't increased a whole lot since the lockdown in Gen 5. For the most part, it's just modern ways, mostly money sinks, to get ones that were huntable in the past. We got a small taste of the return of shiny huntable mythicals, but with the lockdown on even just the shinies of legendary Pokemon, just for them to become huntable in Go, it makes the future seem a bit grim. It feels only inevitable that a shiny mythical is first obtainable in Go. It's not even super unbelievable either. Shiny Volcanion shows up in the TCG, and Shiny Magearna shows up in the anime, and they've never been obtainable in the main games. So surely it's possible that one shows up in Go first, and it felt like that was inevitable for the upcoming Unova tour. Well, up until a couple days ago, where they just dropped out of nowhere that Shiny Meloetta was a new gift in home as a reward for completing Pokedex-related tasks. This is not the first special gift for Dex completion, as you can get Original Color Magearna for completing Bulbasaur through Eternatus in the National Dex, which is not the shiny. It's just a different form. This new method is one I'm kind of torn on. I like that it's not just a free handout, but something you actually have to work for, as you need to fill the home Pokedexes for the Scarlet and Violet base game as well as both DLCs. It's not even a random pick, as Meloetta is catchable in the DLC, but I would have much preferred that the one catchable had just been able to be shiny hunted instead. As someone that has completed a living dex for every one of the Switch titles, I had this done already. I was able to get it right as I woke up and saw the news, but a lot of people don't play this way, and are then turned off from going for it as it seems like such a monumental task. I do hope, however, that if this is how they want to handle it, they keep with it. Give us a shiny Keldeo for the Sword and Shield Pokedexes. Maybe a shiny Manaphy for completing the BDSP and Legends Arceus Pokedexes. Maybe the upcoming Legends Z-A can finally make shiny Diancie more widespread. This became a bit of a mess describing the many situations of how shiny mythicals are handled. And that there is the problem. It's like every few years they change their minds on how they want to deal with the situation, and it leads to situations like where we have waited 14 years and counting for shiny Victini. Seeing the shiny Meloetta distribution show up randomly one day obviously had me and many other people excited, but it very quickly just joined the rest of my shinies in Pokemon Home. No real story for me to tell. It is more involved than being given a shiny mythical from a random delivery man because he went to an EB Games for 5 minutes. But the task is something I've already done. I've completed the Pokedexes without this incentive and would have continued to without it. And so to me, it really was just another freebie. Alrighty, I think I'll leave it there. This should cover most of what I wanted to talk about, though it's possible something escaped past me. I would like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you left a like or even subscribed, as both really truly do help out the channel. I would also love to hear from you in the comments down below, even if it's just what your favorite shiny mythical is or the one you want to become available next. If you want to further support the channel, consider becoming a member. Doing so grants you some perks such as having your name appear on screen right about now in future videos. This has been Big Blast 99, and I hope you all have yourselves a goddamn good one.